So there's two separate units, I guess. That's your power, that's your sprayer. And that's your sprayer too under there. This is just what powers it. Most machines that don't have the petrol side of things are just an electric system. So yeah, once you're on water-based product, you only have to flush it out with water. Yeah, it's just that they say when they store it, the manuals do say flush it out with mineral spirits to start with. But as I said, if you keep using water-based stuff, it's going to eventually all clean itself out. All right, so to give you a rundown of the actual spray unit, essentially, once it's all started and up and running, right, you've got an on-off switch here. This is to spray. So you flick it on, and nothing will happen until you start turning up the pressure release. So what will happen when you start turning that up, your pump will kick in. So it's a pump that goes up and down, and that starts sending fluid from the bucket up this big pipe here into the pump, through the system, and either, if that arrow is down, it's going to come back out here. So your fluid will go in there and out there. That's called priming. Now, as soon as you flick over to spray, it'll come in there, through here and out of there. So it's as simple as that. There really isn't much to it other than that. That's your power, so that'll mean it's got more pressure, it'll build up pressure. So if you want to spray at low pressure, it'll be about there. High pressure, it goes up to 3,300 PSI, I think. Always prime it first, which is down. So that's just making sure there's no air in the system, because it's an airless based system. Once you get air in there, you'll find that the pressure on the gun won't spray very well. You'll be getting no pressure at all.
Clear it if it is in there.
Put it back on prime. Right. So yeah, so if you try spraying, you realise there's no pressure at all, always prime it again. So all it's doing is picking up the whatever you're spraying, sending it through the system and back out again, releasing every bit of air in the system. Once that's running through there, you'll see the fluid come back out there, which I'll show you once we get it going. Then you can just turn it down again, flick it over to spray and a spray. There you go. That really is all there is to it. Now with your cleaning, there's a filter in here. It's a hand tight. After you've finished spraying, you're meant to take this out. There's a filter. That should pop out. Clean that out. So that's your manifold filter. And again, a hand tight thing. You don't need to, even though it's got something you could use a spanner on, you don't need to. They always recommend just hand tight. Doesn't look like there's a filter involved in this because it's made probably for more thick fluids.
We're not meant to be running any filters spraying super therm.
Anyway, your fluid comes up through here, out there and through that nozzle. Now, this is a reverser clean, RAC they call it, reverser clean. So if you start getting inconsistent spraying, you can reverse that round, spray, and it just cleans it out. So it's just a reversible cleaning system. Okay. Back in again. You can replace these tips, different types, different sizes. Simple as that, nothing more to it. Now, super dangerous, 3,000 PSI. They reckon if you spray your hand, it'll say it's all over here. It's called injection. It's fluid injection, where you don't even realise anything's happened, and you can get air bubbles in your body, and you can drop dead. So always keep your hand away from that. As soon as there's no pressure coming out of there, when you pull your trigger, there's no pressure, then you've taken all the danger away from it. So just always remember that. If you're spraying and there's pressure, keep your hands away from that. See that little piston there? Once we start it going, you'll see that going up and down. After every use, you're meant to squeeze some oil just into there. Just pour it in, it will sort of overflow, it doesn't really matter. But it's just sending some oil down into that metal piston, just to lubricate the seals in there, and just means your pump rears out quicker, so you'll need a repair quicker. But they recommend that. You check your oil levels there. They do say you should replace the oil pretty quickly after your first usage. Your drain there, you've got a drain tray, which you can just drain it out. If you do change your oil, that's simple as that. Pull it out, pull that out, drain your oil out, and then refill again. All the specs of all that are in the 20 to 50 grade oil, I think, general standard one from the car shops. But again, that's just a Honda lawnmower. There's nothing more to it than that, really. It's just a matter of getting your choke and so you switch it to on, throttle to on, and switched it on. It should start now. On. Around here. Sucking up there, going out there. That's priming, that's getting rid of all the chemicals that they stored it with. So probably should let that run for a while. That's more power, it's quicker. You come around here. There's your piston running up and down. That's what I said, pour the oil in after you've used it at the end of every well. Once you've finished spraying, you get this is your product you're spraying obviously in here. Take it away, get a bucket of water, put your bucket of water in. And again, just run it in prime mode. Well, you've got to clean out obviously your sprayer as well. So what are we doing before? Just put it on prime mode, speed it up a little bit, and you'll just see it'll come out with your product still in there, and then it'll slowly clear until water's coming out. Run it as long as you can to clear it up as possible, as best as possible. So once you start seeing clear fluid through there, you know that you've cleaned out all of your product. Same with the gun, put it onto spray mode, spray until you've cleaned out that as well. So, and they do recommend if you're going to store it for any period of time, you should suck through some what they call armor oil, which is a blue fluid that Graco supply, and it's a blue fluid that goes into your system, keeps all your seals moist and ready. If you're storing it for more than, I'd probably say 3 or 6 months maybe, then I'd probably put some through, but if you're using the machine regularly, you don't need to do that. Eventually, inside of there are your pump seals, which are all like leather pieces and plastic pieces, which just is a pump essentially. Now that's the part we rebuild. Eventually they will go after a couple of years maybe if you're using it. And we rebuild that, that's the only thing that can really go wrong. So as I said, I'll clean out your filters at the end, the filter in here at the end once you've done. Once everything's turned off, take that out, hose it off. But just always remember the pressure release system, which is always in the manual. Gun, releasing the gun, making sure it's all out. But once you get the hang of it, as I said, starting that is just like a lawnmower. You'll get the hang of that as time goes on. Yeah, and the sprayer is simply on. You're either in prime mode or in spray mode. That's your power.